Hello, hello. Sorry about that. My data ran out. I've had to spend £5 buying some more. Because what are we? And we are 22 minutes from the end of this month, and I ran out of data before it gets renewed. So anyway, hello. What do I want to see in another iteration of Transformers? So an inclusivity, a variety of characters and places. I just want, and I want it to be embraced by people again. I want it to be to continue to engender that sense of community. Right, what next? We'll do another 20 minutes maybe, and then we'll call it a day. Right, so the other day Nick Roach, you may have heard of him, he posted a page that was drawn for More Than Meets the Eye, but was never made it into the issue. And it was from it was one half of a 2-page script that I wrote at speed. And I mean, there's an NDA still in, I guess still in force. So I can't really say too much, but I mean, I will say that it was to do with the what became the expanded Hasbroverse. And what I can remember from those 2 pages is that Rodimus had just come from the fancy dress party in Swerves, which there was some dialogue in there that I recycled. A lone Megatron in a sea of worlds was in there in that originally. Chrome Dome and Rewind questions, which I've answered. Another question about Farmer. How did Ratchet interpret and feel about Farmer's last words, in particular, my beloved Ratchet? I don't think... I think there was an imbalance in feeling between Ratchet and Farmer. I think before Farmer's fall from grace, I think Ratchet certainly cared for him and respected his abilities as a doctor. But there may have been a bit of a brainstorm quark dynamic, I think, to that. A lot of Drift and Ratchet questions. How many times, asks a little bumblebee, have Rodimus and Drift slapped each other's ass? I've signed an NDA. I can't disclose that, I'm afraid. Zoe asks, is there any special meaning to the patterns on Drift in issue 25? Yes and no. Yes, that's why they're there, but I can't tell you precisely what each one means. But it's it's to denote moments in their life, or either literally or symbolically. Well, what I mean is, it might be that a sort of a version almost of chronolinguism. There's certain patterns that can be really steeped in meaning, or even spectralism, where colours have certain meanings. Maybe that's the same with patterns, and they evoke certain times in their life or emotional truths, maybe. And I'll be honest with you. When I wrote the scene with Rodimus and Drift saying goodbye to each other in 25 and the close up on their hands, I didn't have chronolinguistics in mind. I love the way Jack drew that close up though, and it certainly looks as if there is. And this is something you can only really say in the context of this continuity. Post chronolinguistics, it looks as if there's a message there. And that was from Promise. Promise asked that question, and I'm going to give Promise a Rodimus star for saying Lost Light 25 spoilers below. So that's very considerate. Is Cyclonus actually a good singer, asks Zeke Muffin, or does only Tailgate think he is? No, I think he is a good singer. He's a bit like an opera singer in that his talent isn't always appreciated by the uncultured. and Tailgate would have liked whatever he was doing at that stage in their relationship. Who would win Shoot Shoot Bang Bang out of the final Lost Light crew, asks Jet Jet. Probably Whirl, but he'd bend the rules. Inknose asks me, says that the end of Lost Light was a kind of love letter to fanfic, which it absolutely was. And indeed, as Inknose says, the life things take on in the imagination beyond the story. That's very well put. And how characters can change hands and have new lives. Yes, indeed. What are my favourite fan fictions? Interpreting that word as broadly as I like. Well, in terms of actual fan fictions, I haven't. It's been a long time since I've read any, partly because of, for professional reasons. I've been out of circulation for a while. I guess, if you like, interpreting that very broadly then, some of the fan art that I see that sort of sells an entire scene or more commonly a relationship or a dynamic between characters. I love to see that type of thing, particularly around the Scavengers. There's they've had relatively little time on the page, but some of the fan art around them really speaks to a volume of information, of interdynamics within the team that we don't see on the page. So I like that stuff. Alex Cole asks, was the recurrence of the phrase trapped light tied to an unused reveal, or always meant to be left mysterious? Or did I miss something obvious? No, you didn't miss anything obvious, Alex. It was trapped light in the sense of trapped within Rung, or indeed trapped within the Matrix, but in both senses of both senses of the idea. Scotty asks, was I ever tempted to have Unicron and Primus having a face-off? He references the UK stories, Legacy of Unicron, where that happened on the astral plane, kind of, or early universe, actually. Not really, Scotty, not really. I sort of, I wanted to keep the Lost Light storyline sort of in and of itself, just because it was tidier, neater that way. Okay. Stuart Webb has asked about the Omega Supreme thing, so that's been answered. And he also asked what would have been the big cliffhanger for season 3 before the compression. Probably, and I can't give you much detail, but it probably would have been around the Infinites and the Firstborn. There would have been, as a character, Scorponok would have been a bigger villain. He would have been a season-ending type villain, and he would have had an army at his disposal, both in terms of the Infinites and the sort of the army that he'd built up. So yeah, that he would have been. It would have been around him. Okay. I can't run out of questions. I'm going to scroll back down again. Okay, Inkthulu asks, or says, I'm known to have a special style of writing, such as knowing every little detail and planning the entire story years in advance. Can I tell you a bit about the process when writing? Not every single detail is mapped out ahead of time. A lot of it is. A lot of the sort of spine of the story is. But you've got to give it a bit of two things. You've got to give a bit of wriggle room, because there's things can happen like Megatron becoming an Autobot that you're going to have to accommodate. And you've got to allow yourself to have new ideas as you're writing, and to find a way to slide those ideas into the story, or indeed, like the Chrome Dome and Rewind thing, to jettison stuff which you start to go cold on. So you can't be so tightly packed, that you don't give yourself any room to adapt. And you find, so I think it may be a different. Someone else asked or said, isn't it? It's surprising how you can remember everything. And I don't remember every single thing, but bearing in mind, you're thinking about this story every day. You're whether you're writing it or not, it's always in your head, and so you're living and breathing it. It becomes more easier if you think of it like that to understand how you can keep a lot of plates spinning, because you're examining the story from every angle, and you're turning it over in your head, and you're trying to think how best to tell it, and it's like picking up details and examining them and thinking, well, how can I best fit this into something else? And by doing that, you tend to know things exhaustively. It's your own creations by and large, and you do come to really understand, or you become very familiar with how things are supposed to fit together. Which issue or arc was the hardest or easiest to write, asks Gundam Joe. Shadowplay was hard to fit into 3 issues. Crucible was hard, I guess for a similar reason really. It was sort of trying to find the right balance, given there was a lot of characters and events. The end of dying I keep doing that, Remain in Light, was very hard to scale down into 22 pages. And I've said before, we were originally going to have the briefcase opening moment there, and the page running out of sequence, which was right to chuck that and sort of postpone that. I found the two-parter around Skids and Nautica on Troja Major difficult. I couldn't quite get that one to mesh. What else? Similarly, and talking about regrets and things, I do recognise that it was suboptimal. No, it was bad to have had Cyclonus sustain those injuries at the end of 47, and then to have him up and about in 48 with sort of not much in between those two events. So I would have done that differently. Okay. Was there anything to Farmer and Tarn besides business? Is that... am I being asked if there was any shippy stuff going on there? In which case, no, sorry. Tarn's a bad guy, and he's principally responsible for Farmer's mental collapse. Casey is Frozen asks if I had any plans to write Optimus's character further after Chaos Theory. I would have liked to. I would have done or liked to do some stories with the so-called outlaws. That was how they were referred in my notes. So Pax and Roller and his team that we meet at the beginning of Chaos Theory. It would have been there's a little mini-series in there somewhere. And I would have liked to have told more stories in the Functionist universe after Megatron stays behind with Pax. Goosey asks, would Cyclonus and Will become Amica Endura? Yes, I think they would. This is Twitter putting things out of order. Girthy Craig, I'm not going to try and unpack that name, says, why am I so into Roller, and why am I making him, her, why am I making they, or them even, so into Roller? I can't explain why I'm making you so into Roller. Roller just has that effect on people thanks to Jack's lascivious designs. Okay. Jesse, Robots with Coffee, Jesse asks, was information creep entirely a result of Adaptus' weapon, or did it also exist independently of that. I think it existed independently of that. It may have been called something else, but I think conceptually the idea that data corrodes and things are misremembered. I conceptualised that before I linked it to Adapters' weapon. So when it was introduced as an idea in 20+1, it was to explain why these robots with sort of software, why it was possible for these near immortals with huge power of recall could have contested history. Colin asks, was 10 a composite Cybertronian, memories of past life or lives from his Spark components? I like that idea. I didn't think of that, but I think that would account for some things. Was Megatron feeling like a failure at the end of Lost Light after promising Optimus to find the Knights, or was he more humbled by not getting his way with the proposed plan? Is Megatron feeling like a failure? I don't think Megatron felt like a failure. I mean, by that point, the reality of the Knights of Cybertron has become apparent. They succeeded in their quest, insofar as they ended up with a new Cybertron, and that beyond finding the Knights, that was the goal. So I think he was at peace with that element, that side of things. SN asks me, is there anything that I wish I hadn't done in the stories? Oh, right, okay. I think I've talked about it already. The fake out death with Red Alert didn't do me any favours. Yeah, sometimes where, the pacing's been a bit rushed, or I've had to skip around a bit, like the Cyclonus injury in 47. Oh, which is my least favourite issue and why? Maybe, and this is purely from a writing perspective, nothing to do with the art, because the art is always amazing. I mean, I will answer this. But I'll also say some issues didn't benefit from their sequence, or from their closeness to other issues. The Swerve issue being followed by the Charisma Parasites issues being followed by the Swerve issue didn't do me any favours really, because it was three quite high concept issues in a row. Yeah, the Trojan Major two-parter. I didn't pull that off as I wanted to really. So I would. I'm obsessively careful about not submitting an issue until I think it's the best I can make it, and I'm proud of pretty much every issue. And there's bits in every issue that I think are good. There's lots I think aren't good, but there was something about that I couldn't quite make that work in the way I wanted it to. Genevieve asks, considering everyone forgot Rung by the end of their lap of honour, where does everyone think the additional matrices came from? Well, I thought somebody would ask that. And the simple answer is no one's quite sure. It's just people have had to invent explanations for it, because they can't even detect a Rung-shaped absence, let alone explain that. So it's just they've had to, whether they've invoked information creep probably accounts for the range of explanations, but conflicting theories. It's very disconcerting seeing live reactions to this here. Yes, I have said that Dying of the Light originally would have had the DJD coming after Drift. Do I own any Mastermind creations? I don't actually, no. I'm very tempted, talking of figures, I'm very tempted by the Megatron, the minor Megatron. I don't know who brought it out. Flame Toys? I don't know, but the Megatron, the More Than Meets the Eye Megatron as a minor. How did Drift get money to buy a ship? We've done that. On what grounds did the Galactic Council have the right to intervene in the Cybertronians' business and punish Megatron? There's sort of parallels with the UN, really, and with the sort of International Court of Criminal Justice, and many worlds have signed up to this, and in so doing, agree to surrender a degree of sovereignty to sort of a greater justice system. And the Cybertronians have been frozen out from that and have made themselves galactic pariahs over the years. And at the end of the run, we're seeing efforts being made by Prowl and Windblade and others to reintegrate. And so it's a combination of, if you want to be part of the Galactic Council, you need to surrender certain things to it, surrender to our justice system. And secondly, Megatron is such a divisive character that to say we will trust your judgment over our own carried a lot of weight. 10th Dynasty says, at TFCon I mentioned that I'd intended to kill several more characters in the finale. Who else was on the death list? How are they going to die? Well, I've told you about Rodimus. Brainstorm. Brainstorm was another near miss. And at one stage Whirl as well, but that's going back a long way. Why aren't Brainstorm and Chrome Dome Amica Endurers? Well, not being. I mean, they might be. Like I say, just because they don't refer to it doesn't mean that it hasn't happened. And you can, I mean, to unpack that a bit, you might have people for whom Condrux Endurer carries a certain weight, but Amica Endurer doesn't. Or maybe Chrome Dome felt, burnt out, exhausted through failed relationships, romantic and friend-based. Okay, I think we're nearly there now. I haven't even been able to see the questions coming up on the screen here. What are my thoughts on pregnancy test? I think that's to do with Rung. Well, yeah, I mean, the Lunarians at the end of Lost Site 25 are clearly Rung's progeny on some level. Was the secret identity of Tarn always going to be Glitch, asks Unicron.com. Yes. People don't believe me, but yes, that was true. Bryn, who's going to an Elton John concert tonight, says, are the playlist songs out of my own playlist? What songs are on my writing playlist to get me motivated? Yeah, I mean, the songs that I've put out over the years are all songs that I listen to or have discovered. And I don't always listen to music when I write because it can be distracting. I did find, though, that of all the songs that I've offered up over the years, it was a song from a Doctor Who episode called Heaven Sent that I put out, I think, to accompany issue 24, which was the sort of final battle. And that one I played a lot when I was writing those last issues. Depression, brackets Alola form, says he was wondering why Riptide's auto brand was grey from about halfway through the series. Did it change when the mutiny went wrong because he thought everyone had been super murdered by the DJD? I like that phrase. Yes. There was a time when we'd have called that a no prize. Virtually a no prize. It's not really a continuity error, although maybe it is. But somebody would have said, oh, this isn't a strange detail. How can we explain it? is it this? And I would have said, yes, that's fantastic. That's a good explanation. Someone else has asked me why certain auto brands are grey and others are not grey. And to be honest, we just sort of took our eye off the ball there and had to stick with it, had to keep some grey. So you can say it's perhaps reflective of different stages of grief. Were there any romantic feelings in Velocity and Nautica's relationship? Not really, but I mean, it's a spectrum, isn't it? I mean, feelings. There may have been times when there was something that sort of ebbed and flowed and flared and faded. I don't know, but I never had in mind that they would become. It was never a consideration of mine, really. In the version of the story where Megatron never joins the crew, would the green spark from Remain in Light have turned out to be Quick Switch? Yes. Good guess. That's, oh yeah, I need a holiday name, I guess. Cattle prod. Yeah, and someone else asked about stuff that was left on the cutting room floor. And there was, there had been, I'd planned to have the crew using information garnered through Chrome Dome's invasion of Overlord's brain. They were going to build their own Phase Sixer in the form of Quick Switch, giving him life through this, or through a spark they'd acquired, and they were going to coat him with Anuntrium, which is, there's a seed planted for that in one of the text stories I wrote, one of the prose stories. What is it now? God, that's terrible, isn't it? Is it 0 Point? No, not 0 Point. It would have been after Dying of the Light, after Remain in Light. So it would have been the prose story in issue 21, and there is reference to, I think, Swerve having a tray of metal, or a tray of liquid metal that he takes away, I think. Anyway, that's where it would have been. Someone says, I thought it was pronounced Unutrium? Unutrium, no. Well, Sound of Breaking Glass, thank you. Is that a spider on my wall? I hope not. That's a fancy light. Graham says, do I ever see myself writing Transformers fiction again, or is this the end? I might do like a little prose story from Omnibus. Or I might be... I might have a fantastic idea and try and persuade IDW to let me run with it. Or they might ask again. I don't know. There'll be a gap. How would Will be as a roommate? He'd be very messy and destructive. You'd probably have a crush on him and then hate him. Does Megatron move to go insane in prison and get released? The questions are coming too fast on this feed. Would I vape our Lord and Saviour wrong? See, I don't even know what you guys are talking about half the time. Will I ever write Towards Peace? No, I won't write Towards Peace unless I'm being paid for it and I can take time off to think about how, to do it justice. If I voiced a character, who would it be? All of them. What would Quick Switch's personality? Quick Switch was going to be the pacifist character. So they would have gone to all this trouble to try and tip the balance and have this super warrior, and he would never ever want to fight. Favourite Chris Barry sitcom? Oh my god, it's definitely The British Empire. Is Cop pronounced Cop or Coop? It's obviously pronounced Coop. And then, can we have a More Than Meets the Eye TV series? Yeah, it started 2 months ago. Where are you? Tell us about spectralism. I didn't really think much about it. God, this is how we should have done it. Really quick fire questions. Do the cast remember the truth about the guiding hand? Yes, to a degree. Rung's role is confused. Does Megatron miss any of his old Decepticons? He does, yes. Coop, yes indeed. What is attractive in Cybertronian society? Metal. Favourite Phase Sixer? Six Shot, definitely. What were the Last Wishes videos that we didn't see? I can't answer that and still have time. What was a Wheeljack's original role in your story? Brainstorm. What's a Cybertron wedding like? Very long. Were the Sharkticons planned to be found in space? No. Did Ratty and Drifty... I was surprised by people's reaction to Ratty. Did they get together in Lost Light 24 or on their way back to the Lost Light? I think they got back together got together on their way back to the Lost Light. Do I find prose or comics more interesting to write? It depends, really, on my mood. Swerve on Blur's death, yes, inconsolable. How was the Cygate wedding? Surprisingly, it was very loud, lots of singing. Do Turbo Fox furries exist on Cybertron? No comment. Was there anything between Swerve and Velocity ever planned? Absolutely not. What will my AO3 username be? I don't know if I'm going to go that far into it, really. Is there a roller rink on the Lost Light? Good. Joke. Does Minimus ever transform? Yeah, he transforms. What's Rodimus's favourite meme? He likes the butterfly meme. Who had more crushes on them, Roddy or Getaway? How did Getaway feel when he found out he didn't outsmart Riptide? He was not happy. Does Megatron like Vor? I'm not going to be caught out on this. Are there any duplicates of robots on the last lights? Yeah, well, probably yes. And that was something else which definitely occurred to me, but was just too much to explore in Crucible without complicating things. Any thoughts on Drift's thighs? They are certainly impressive. Most obscure character you've put in the series would be Toaster. Did the Scavengers raise the Firstborn? In our universe, yes. Say something about Functionist Universe Impactor, please. He was a hero. What is Rung's favourite meme? That woman looking puzzled with algebra in front of her face. Did Skids love Nautica as a conjunct? Yeah, I'd say he was in love with her. Ravaged and Megs, don't change back. We're never going to answer that one. Am I excited for the new Bumblebee movie? Yeah, I'm very excited, and that's even before there was a Smiths reference in it. Roller and Nickel, yay or nay? I sometimes look at that panel where he's spinning her wheels and think that is the most outrageously erotic thing we've ever put in the comic. Was Nautica always going to forget Skids? Yeah, sadly. What alt universes are the crew visiting at the end of 25? That's for you to decide. A random fact about Black Shadow. Scared of oil. Stop asking me about memes. What else? I'm old. I only know about 5 memes. They are pretty dank. Will Swerve find love ever? I think he's destined to be a good friend to many. Wasn't Chrome Dam going to have the Firstborn early on? Yes, very early on I had an image of him holding a baby in his hand. Did Swerve get Misfire's number? Yes. Who do I regret killing? Tail Cutter. Tail Breaker. Trailbreaker even. Oh my god, who would win? No one's asked me a question starting with who would win. In who would win questions, it's always the first person that you list. Was Kaon's death always planned? No. Swerve friend zoned. Will Drift and Rod see each other again? Definitely, maybe. Swerve's number 1 TV show is Community, obviously. Why did it seem heavily implied in 24 that World died opening the Matrix? That was never intended. I was surprised that people read it as that. He was just injured. But I mean, who's the clumsiest Transformer? Discharge. What's the most self-indulgent thing you wrote? The disco scene, which I probably shouldn't have done. Where did the Guiding Hand get their mortal names from? Yeah, some sort of folkloric information creep. People filling in the blanks and feeling the need to do that. Kaon and Dominus, were they involved, James, please? Not in the way that you want them to be, sorry. What time do I have to be up in the morning? You're right. I have to be up in the morning to write, actually, interestingly enough. Rung can't dance. No, we can't dance. Does Swerve prefer Queen is Dead or Strange Ways? Oh, man, Queen is Dead, even though Strange Ways is the cool choice. Was there always tension between Cyclonus and Getaway? Yes. Thank you for liking the disco scene. Thank you, everybody, for liking the disco scene. Does Will still make clocks? He does make clocks. You saw that in 25. What are you asking that you're not getting an answer to, Rosen? What would a lost light... Oh, sorry, it's going too fast. How Has the faith changed now the truth about the guiding hand is real? That's a really good question. Yes, it must do, I think. Am I still writing comics? Yes. If I was a Transformer, what would my alt mode be? It would be a pair of really nice headphones. Another fan of the disco scene, thank you. Will Megatron ever get to read Minimus's poetry? Yes. He took it to him in the last days in his cell. Did Swerve actually watch All Earth Entertainment? Yes, twice. Apart from Iron Fist. Does Brainstorm like Inspector Gadget? He's conflicted on that. Are there any songs I wanted to put in the disco scene but didn't? I'm sure there was now, but I can't remember what it was. What would Death Says alt mode be? A horn. There we go, look. Optimus and Megatron, how would that come? Conversation have gone. Oh my god, it would have been the most intense conversation they'd ever had, respectively. Besides Rung's favourite original character created. I don't know if Rung is my favourite. I think Nautica. Is Deathsaurus a POP and or a Phase 6er? He's not a Phase 6er. Does Swerve like the Big Bang Theory? No, because he's got a functioning brain. Is there any other Cybertronian neurodiverse conditions? Yes, I would have liked to have explored some. Did any character... Oh, that's moving too fast. Does Farmer feel bad for what he did? Brackets killing his patients. Yes. Yes, originally, but then he sort of... he was overtaken by sort of mania. Does Swerve like South Park? Early series, yes. Did Minimus face discrimination because of his furry alt mode, i.e. right? He did. Who would win, Cyclonus and Drift? Cyclonus. Would I ever do a writing workshop at a convention? Yes, if there was a demand for it. If I'm invited to conventions anymore. Do you think Amulon deserved better? Yes. Another furry question. Who's the furry in the Lost Light crew? Hoist. Will Rung be in future projects? Not my own. Is Tailgate the cutest? He's like a little marshmallow. Do all the Lunarians look like Rung or just some of them? They all have aspects of Rung. And actually that was something in issue 25 we wanted, through Jack's designs and Joanna's colours, to try and get that idea across without being too obvious about it. Why couldn't Rook have been Primus? Sorry, Bob Moore. Dusty invites me to TFCon, thank you very much. Yeah, Hoist and Zootopia, big fan of that film. What if Nautica ended up on the cutting room floor? I'm not sure what you mean. Which TF is a Hanzo man? Oh god, the lamest. Can I think of a crack ship? I don't know what crack ship means. Oh, I think I do. That's like a bad relationship, isn't it? Is it hard to break into the comic writing scene? Yes, it is, and I was very lucky to have to have contacts that gave me a chance. Is Rung watching from above? Yes. Who's considered the hottest in Lost Light? Well, Getaway was actually, followed by Skids. They were a very hot duo. Are there duplicates? There won't be duplicates on... If there's duplicates from the Functionist universe that have come into our universe, they won't be cancelled out. The cancellation only happens when it's a quantum duplicate. Were there any cut scavengers? Not in terms of crew members, of members of the team that I dropped. What does Perceptor do in his spare time? He doesn't have any spare time. Swerve's favourite meme. Oh god, he's so over memes. Does Rung listen to Skinny Bones by the Ditty Bops? He's aware of the Ditty Bops. No, Crack Ship is a ship of two characters that make no sense ships, but are anyway for fun, like Rodimus and Magnus. What did Rung see on Madiri? Oh, yes, that's a good question. Actually, I'm trying to think whether I ever contemplated that. What happened to Functionist Universe Anode? She was an incredible war general. Did Nickel have a girlfriend on Prion? Yes, I think she probably did. Did Rapid Fire survive? Can you tell me about his personality? He is, as the name suggests, he talks 10 to the dozen. He can't sit still. He's got attention deficit disorder. What's my favourite Transformer as a kid was Hot Rod as a toy, followed by Sandstorm as a toy. Very good. Grimlock and Misfire, Amaka possible. Amaka definitely. What's her favourite Quantum Leap? He likes the last episode a lot. Otherwise, it's the Leap Home parts 1 and 2. Is it weird being on a monthly deadline? Yes, it is very weird not being on a monthly deadline. Actually, my life is lacking shape a little bit at the moment in terms of that. It's nice to have time to read and watch things, though. Did Grimlock reunite with Swoop in our universe? Yes. Will we get a comic about the DJD in the future? I was going to say very unlikely, but who knows now? Who is the best 7 minutes player? I don't understand that question. Current favourite song? Oh my god, it's this song by Grace Petrie called Farewell to Welfare, and it's incredible. Who was Nichols' favourite DJD member? Tarn. What was Fort Max going to do in Modern Meets the Eye 15 that was so immoral? I've forgotten. Did Crankcase get together with Cons Forever in our universe? Yes. Decepticons beef with organics, where did it start? God, I should know the answer to that. That's a fundamental question. I think it was in... Weren't the Cybertronians attacked by organics, first of all? I'll come back to you on that one. What did I think of this season of Doctor Who? I really, really wish it well. I'm a little bit underwhelmed. There's been some great episodes or great moments, but something's just not quite right. Would I like to have done more with Star Saber? Yes, I would like him to have longer fights with people. How long were Ratchet and Drift together? Decades and decades, but you've got to be vague because the time differences in 25 is vague. What would you tell your child fanboy self? Try to unlearn things. Don't feel you need to scratch like a fanboy itch. Try and relax and do different things. Swerve and Misfire thoughts. I think they are the Booster Gold and Blue Beetle of the Transformers universe. Which Lost Lighters actually like the movie Monsters vs. Aliens? None of them. What styling product do I use and why are you... do I keep being asked that question? I use fish. It's a product. I don't use actual fish. Does Rung know that we love him? No, he doesn't. He's very lonely. What's the one thing I would tell a new comic writer? I would tell a new comic writer, never ever settle for will this do. If you think something can be better, then it can be better. Keep at it. Was Crucible originally going to be longer? Kind of. It would have been sort of spread over multiple stories in a way. Can we have a Spotlight Hoist too? Oh, that's the other person that likes Spotlight Hoist. Thank you. Nice to meet you. Let you hug Rung. What bots like Shrek? No single character likes all of the Shrek movies. They all like the first one. Did Grimlock and Fort Max reconcile? Yes. Rodimus's favourite Disney movie is Robin Hood. What's the Lost Light favourite Disney movie? Oh, no. Will I Sleep? Yeah, it's not too late for me. It's around about midnight. Log and Anode wedding song. I can't take my eyes off of you. Which TF gives them worst hugs? Octopunch. Oh look, no more questions. That means you're all... Does Swerve sort of remember wrong because of fourth wall breaking? Swerve remembers the cover to a comic that had Rung on it and can't explain what that means. Would Rodimus eat Doritos? Oh yeah. Who gives the best hugs? Funnily enough, Megatron. Did any characters like Ammo have backstories? That feels like I'm being told off. When did I start writing anything? Like about 6 o'clock, no, 6 years old. Top 3 easy on the eye Lost Lighters. That's for you to tell me. Cygate wedding song. Surely you don't have to ask that one. How did Chrome Dome and Brainstorm meet at the New Institute? I was going to say Magnus gave the best hugs, but then he's learned something of Megatron. Has Swerve read your erotic fan fiction? Yes, he was embarrassed but flattered. Could I have done an Inhumanoids cameo spin-off in the eye? Could I have done an Inhumanoids spin-off any justice? I don't think I could have done that. No reflection on Inhumanoids, but I don't think I could have brought the passion that you need to that project. How do I cope with all these questions? I'm surprised, actually. As long as they're short and pithy, I can do it. What would a simpatico wedding be like? Very complicated. It would be. They'd be trying to outdo each other in subtle ways. It would make a good sitcom episode, actually. Favorite podcast? Seb Patrick's Office podcast. I like a lot. Why did Rodimus feel great with The Matrix? I think that was slightly psychosomatic. He's always fancied himself as being Matrix compatible, and maybe he is. Can Grimlock get a boyfriend? Unlikely. How would I feel about a GemTF crossover? Fantastic, bring it on. Which character would I have liked to have used but didn't get to? Prowl? Would I ever consider writing prose for a fanzine? It's not the fanzine part. It's just whether I need a little bit of a break from Transformers at the moment. Would Night be like Sherlock Holmes? Oh God, yes. What's with me and pregnancy baby plot lines? Sandra, I've only done one. Who was Tusk? An early beast warrior elephant. Swerve's reaction to his fans. Oh my God, Swerve would be both the best and worst Twitter user of all time. Any romance among DJD members? Not that I'd thought about. What's my favourite gift from a fan? Oh, I can't choose, but anything which has been handmade I do like. Have I watched TFP or Animated? Yes, I've watched both of those, but not all the way through. They're both. I can see why they've both got huge fans. Skids as Doctor Who. What's the link? That was just sort of an in-joke that we ran with. Will I start reading all the fanfic now? Yes, but I won't. But please don't, in the nicest way, don't. But you can send me links, but I can't guarantee I will read it because I imagine I'll get quite a lot. Is Swerve secretly Drill? That's the best question I've had all evening. What's the worst movie Roddy likes? The worst movie that Rodimus likes is Caddyshack. Which Transformer would like Trump? None of them. How was Terminus's confession going to go? His confession to... How do you mean his confession? Come back to me on that one. Am I secretly Drill? I couldn't possibly say. Maybe this is like a battle of will. I'm just going to keep on going till one by one you drop out and nobody's left. Would Ratchet and Drift open a clinic together? I like the ambiguity of the word clinic there. Yes, they'd open a clinic. Is Toaster the real mastermind of the mutiny? Yes, he's got issues, Toaster has. How do I feel about World's many admirers? I can see why World would have admirers. Which Transformer do I want as my best friend? Skids or Rung would be good as a best mate. Have the Lost Light ever heard the song Boogie Wonderland? No, that's the one song that hasn't reached them. Terminus telling Megatron he was lying. Terminus was never going to confess to Megatron that. Yes. Gabe Bravado says, I'm too strong. She is becoming weary, but don't feel you've got to see this out to the end. In fact, you know what? I think... Okay, there are a couple more questions. Does Whirl miss his Wrecker teammates? Yeah, absolutely he does. Yeah, they were his first family. Execution of Megatron, is this Prowl's idea? It was the Galactic Council's, but Prowl was very much in favour of it. Who would be the best romantic partner? It depends on your tastes. Who was Rung's romantic interest? He didn't really think of people romantically. He was very close to Skids. He was fundamentally quite a lonely character, and he liked feeling connected to people. Who plays Fortnite? Tailgate, Swerve, Rewind. Will I be doing another one of these? I don't know really. I don't know if there's a demand for it, to be honest. Would Lug and Ray... Graham, thank you. What question would I most like to finish on? Yeah, that's a hard question to answer. I think we will wrap it up. Yes, should we say... I'm just looking at what else have we got here. MBTI types for Rung and Nautica. See, I'm learning things. I don't know what that I don't know what that is. Any franchises or universes I'd like to write beyond Transformers? I'd like to do. I nearly did. I back when IDW had the X-Files license. That was X-Files. There should be a Quantum Leap comic, shouldn't there? Death Set. I'd like to do a Death Set comic. Okay, what's my favourite superhero? Spider-Man. Rung does deserve to be happy. Megatron does need hugs. You're all a very compassionate, tactile, thirsty bunch. Please publicly apologise to you, Jones, for sinking Ratchet and Farmer. Oh, goodness me. When I gave the answer to that, I failed to consider the the very passionate and devoted Ratchet Farmer fan base out there. I've just given you my interpretation, but I'm sure it's not canon, is it, anymore, because it's not on the page. Did Megatron and Ratchet and Minimus ever hug? There's been contact, there's been touching, in the sense of Christmas decorations, of course. Yeah, you are a passionate, thirsty bunch. I've never read the Warriors books, no. And that... There we go. Right. Okay. Listen. I think we. Oh, hello, Zach. Who made the first move, Ratchet or Drift? It's one of those complicated things where they both think the other one did. Right. Okay. I think we've had a good run. If we all want to do it, we can do it again. But I reckon we all need. I probably need to rest. Some of you need to rest. There's a lot of fervent, thirsty shipping going on, and that's very tiring for you guys. So I think some of you need to have a cold shower and chill. I'm really touched that there's been this amount of interest in the comic and in the questions. So yeah, thank you all very much. You're all lovely people. I've got half a pint of Corona to drink, and then I'm going to go to bed. So take care. See you soon. See you on Twitter. I'll try and answer some more questions on Twitter, but intermittently. But yeah, thank you. Good night. The transmission ends now.